I've got another viewer's question for you. Maybe, Dave, you'd like to answer this one. Jonas Carlson from Sweden would like to know, would you, do you have any plans to do like Metallica did and allow people to record your shows on camcorders and cassettes? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, actually I heard they had like a pit and people could come in, bring their, you know, Walkmans or whatever. But you know, it's probably a good idea in some respects because there are bootlegs out there. You know, people are bootlegging shows and selling them.
Yeah, you can't really stop it.
But you can't, no, so it's very difficult. But I don't really think that we would. I mean, really, because you like to have some sort of control, quality control over what goes out as well. So I can't really see Maiden doing that. Really, I think, you know, each show as well. You know, people come there and get into the vibe, it's a gig, and that's it, and they've got something to remember. But a lot of the times, you know, if you record it, you take it back and listen to it, and the sound and everything, you know, I think can have the opposite effect what it's supposed to have, and shatter the illusion or the memory of the gig.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
I mean, so maybe that side, but I don't really think we're going to be doing that. I can't see that.
Okay, so watch out for the have to watch out for the actual official live footage of Donington, because of course that was a fabulous gig and we'll look forward to that. Now, do you guys like Lynyrd Skynyrd?
Yeah.
I thought you might,
yeah.
because we've got an exclusive performance on the way, actually another live performance. You know by now it's a special edition of the Headbangers Ball dedicated to Iron Maiden and celebrating the release of Iron Maiden's new live album, a real live one. And as I said at the beginning of the show, we are going to be meeting up with all the band members, and right now it's time to talk to Bruce and Yannick, and obviously have to start with Bruce here because we've got some rather searching questions to ask you about your decision to leave Iron Maiden, Bruce. So I was wondering, at what point did you start considering to leave the band, and why did you time it as such, just to announce it fairly before the European tour?
Well, the whole idea with getting the announcement out before we did the tour was that I didn't want really to piss people off. I mean, obviously it's going to piss some people off, but I wanted to minimise the amount of that, because I figured that if you were straight up front about it and said, look, this is what I'm going to do, this is going to be my last tour, it means that it's not on my mind during the tour, which would be sort of hypocritical of me in a sense. I'd be going on stage, you know, with everybody thinking, oh, yada, 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 you know, he's in the band, everywhere. And at the back of your mind is always, well, when am I going to drop the bomb, you know, and tell everybody? So much better to get it over and done with at the beginning, and you know, minimise all that. That way we can all go out and have a laugh, you know, we all go out and have a hoot, you know.
Keep it all out in the open, and yeah.
And you know, it gives everybody a chance to adjust, you know, it gives the fans a chance to adjust. It gives the guys in the band a chance to find a new singer. I mean, I'm looking as well, you know.
Right. Now, Yannick, was it a shock to you when you heard Bruce's announcement?
Yeah, completely a shock, yeah. I mean, we hadn't been to the for a while, so I didn't really...
He thought it was that.
Yeah. I thought it was the fact that I hadn't been down the pub with Bruce for a few weeks.
He phoned me up, he said, is it something I've said? I said, no, Yannick, it's nothing you've said. It's not, you know.
So we have to ask you, you know, what are going to be your plans from now on, because I know that you want to branch out and concentrate and deal with other things, not just music, right?
Yes, to an extent, but first and foremost, I'm a singer, and I'd like to explore some bits of me that I think, you know, I couldn't do within Iron Maiden. Well, I can't expose much more than I'm doing legally at the moment, sir, you know. Oh, God, in the privacy of my own pants, yeah. But yeah, I'd like to wander around and have the freedom to do some things which I can't do in Iron Maiden, for the best of reasons. You know, that Iron Maiden has its very defined style. It's, you know, very much been, you know, going down the same direction and everything, and I guess I feel that I've done as much as I can do in that context, in that environment, and there's no good me staying if, you know, the musical vibe is wanting to tug me elsewhere. It's dishonest.
I think it's very important that the fans appreciate that as well, because it was, you know, we saw a lot of the press and letters to Krang and so on. People were very shocked that you were leaving, but, you know, I think it's a very brave decision for you to do that, and also I can completely appreciate, you know, your reasons.
Oh, it's very scary in one sense. I mean, it's you know, I think as the end of the tour approaches, you wake up each day going, ah, no, you know, as unemployment looms, you know.
Well, we're going to talk a lot more about that.
This is not about me, this is about Iron Maiden, so let's just talk about Iron Maiden.
Well, we do want to talk a little bit more about that, actually, because we've got some viewers' questions. Kelvin Rowley from Cleveland in the UK has a question for Yannick, and he says that after working on Bruce's solo career, was there any thought of you leaving Iron Maiden to join Bruce in his solo project?
No, because Bruce had done a solo thing already with a lot of different musicians, and it's very much in a different direction. And I'm quite happy with this, the direction I'm taking now. And so that wasn't really a question.
Okay, well, we're going to be talking to Yannick again a little bit later on, but in the next interview segment I'm just going to have a chat with Bruce, and we're going to talk a little bit more about his plans for the future and some of the projects that he's going to be working on. Bruce is still with me on this special edition of the Headbangers Ball from Portugal, dedicated to Iron Maiden, but we are going to take just a few moments to talk to Bruce a little bit more about his decision to leave the band, a very major decision to make, and a lot of fans have written in and they want to know why you couldn't do something like Bon Jovi did, John Bon Jovi, and sort of just take some time off for a couple of years and then come back to the band. I think people find it quite hard to understand why it's such a final decision.
Well, I guess it has to do with some pretty some pretty deep-seated changes with the way I view music, really. Not that I don't like music anymore or anything. In actual fact, it's actually completely the opposite. And what I found with, for example, the last thing I did, Tattooed Millionaire, as I was writing this stuff, I was holding back from doing a lot of things that I thought might have been interesting. But I was holding back because I thought, well, this is kind of, I've got to do this. I don't want to kind of piss off people, you know, especially some of the more conservative Iron Maiden fans and stuff like that. So you're always consciously thinking, well, you know, in the background, you know, this is my part-time job, and this is the big thing. This is what I do full-time. This is going to take priority and everything else. And so then we went on tour for another couple of albums. And after the last tour, I felt that, as far as I was concerned, in terms of how far I could pull Maiden away from where it was, was as much as I could do in that album, without starting to, you know, throw temper tantrums and start, you know, yelling and screaming. And I thought, well, for why? You know, if I felt that way about things, I should go and make a different kind of music. Basically that's what I've been sort of working on. And this, as I say, is my farewell tour. It's not that I don't like what I've done with Maiden. I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of the band. I think
absolutely.
At the beginning of the 80s, Maiden, I think, with, you know, with Number of the Beast and with Peace of Mind and with Power Slave, I mean, we shaped a whole generation of musicians. I know, because people keep coming up and telling me. Yes. And it's at the time you never think that. You know, at the time you just think you're getting on with it and you're touring and everything else. And it's when people come up to you and say, you know, you know, when I was 13 or something, that's all I listened to was that album. And I'm very proud to have been part of that, and all the tours and everything. And it's, you know, it's a fabulous live band. Always was, always will be, still will be after I've left. And so I'm not sort of trying to do that aspect of things down, but after 12 years, 11, 12 years, you know, I'm not the same person I was when I was 22.
No, of course not.
So I wanted to change, and I don't think that with what I've been doing, I cannot see how without you hearing it, and it won't be heard for a while yet, because whilst I've actually finished recording one album, I'm starting to record another album, because there's another like album's worth of stuff, and I don't know which to pick.
Wow.
So I've actually recorded 3 albums today, and I'm just going to pick and choose and stuff out of all the various different little vibes and areas, and put it all together, and you know. And with all that music coming out, and it's very different to Iron Maiden, and it's certainly not Bon Jovi.
No.
You know.